This HOA Karen destroyed my trash can 57 times with her $60,000 Escalade, so I replaced it with a concrete one and watched her destroy her own SUV instead. What started as morning property demolition ended with criminal charges, a $12,000 settlement, and one very expensive life lesson about picking the wrong neighbor to bully. Picture this: the sharp crack of plastic shattering echoes through dawn silence, followed by the metallic scrape of bumper meeting asphalt as a pearl-white Escalade speeds away, leaving my garbage scattered like confetti across the driveway again. But here's the thing about bullies: they never expect their victims to fight back with actual concrete evidence. By the time I was done, this self-appointed compliance officer had demolished her own vehicle, exposed a $47,000 embezzlement scheme, and learned the hard way that some neighbors refuse to be intimidated by clipboards and fake authority. My name is Marcus Holloway. I'm 45, an electrician for 22 years, recently divorced, fighting for joint custody of my two teenagers Emma, 16, and Tyler, 14. We live in Pinewood Gardens, one of those cookie-cutter HOA neighborhoods in suburban Ohio where everyone's lawn must be exactly 2.5 inches tall and mailboxes come in 3 approved colors. I bought the corner lot house 3 years ago right after divorce papers were signed. Fresh start, decent schools, safe neighborhood. What I didn't figure on was dealing with Brenda Whitmore, a 52-year-old widow who appointed herself the neighborhood's compliance officer, a title that doesn't actually exist in our HOA bylaws. Brenda drives a pearl-white Escalade bigger than some studio apartments. She moved in about 3 years back after her husband died. No kids, retired from managing a bank downtown. The woman knows every HOA rule by heart and treats our monthly dues like her personal slush fund. She's buddies with HOA President Gerald Thornfield, which basically makes her untouchable. My corner lot means trash pickup requires placing my bin within 3 feet of the curb every Tuesday morning, right where Brenda takes her daily power walk at exactly 6:15 a.m. The first incident happened on a Tuesday in September. I'm getting the kids ready, coffee brewing, garbage truck still 20 minutes away. Then crack, the sound of plastic exploding like a gunshot. I rush outside to find my trash can obliterated, garbage scattered across my driveway like someone detonated a confetti bomb. There's Brenda backing up her Escalade, rolling down her window with fake concern. "Oh my," she says, not a trace of sincerity in her voice. "These streets are just so narrow. I hope you weren't too attached to that old thing." That first week, it happened 3 more times. Same routine, 6:15 sharp, that rumble of her oversized engine, the sickening crunch of plastic meeting steel, then silence as she drove away. By Friday, I was suspicious. By the following Tuesday, I knew it was intentional. Mrs. Olivia, my elderly neighbor across the street, confirmed my suspicions. "She takes the long way around on purpose," she told me in her careful English. "Plenty of room on other side, but she drives close to your can every time." I tried reasoning with Brenda first. Caught her during one of her afternoon patrols. "Hey, about the trash can situation," she cut me off with a saccharine smile. "Marcus, I understand you're new to community living. These streets were designed for normal-sized vehicles, not oversized containers blocking traffic flow. Perhaps you should consider placement timing adjustments." By month's end, I'd replaced 4 trash cans at $92 total. The kids were getting stressed about the daily drama, and my custody evaluator was taking notes about neighborhood stability issues. That's when the smirk started. Brenda began making direct eye contact during her morning demolition runs, with this satisfied smile that said she knew exactly what she was doing. Game on. 2 weeks into October, Brenda escalated to psychological warfare. A certified letter arrived: improper trash receptacle placement creating traffic hazard. Section 4.7.3, no obstruction of vehicular traffic patterns. 72 hours to remedy violation or face $50 daily fines. Here's where my years of troubleshooting electrical codes paid off. When something doesn't add up, you dig deeper. After 3 hours of cross-referencing city ordinances with county regulations, I hit jackpot. The city code explicitly requires trash placement within 3 feet of the curb on collection day. More importantly, HOA jurisdiction ends at the property line. They literally can't regulate public right-of-way. I installed a Ring doorbell camera positioned perfectly to capture the morning routine. $47 for peace of mind. Professional survey confirmed my placement complied with all city requirements. I even convinced Mrs. Olivia to provide a written statement, though her hands shook slightly as she signed it. "I don't want trouble," she whispered. "But this isn't right." Meanwhile, Brenda flooded the Nextdoor app with posts about reckless homeowners endangering children and dangerous corner obstacles forcing responsible drivers into oncoming traffic. A buddy at City Hall called with interesting news. The city had received 4 separate complaints about my dangerous corner, each claiming different witness perspectives but obviously written by the same person. All submitted within 15 minutes at 2:47 a.m. That's when I had coffee with Dale Kowalski at Home Depot's contractor desk. Dale's been pouring concrete for 23 years. When I mentioned my trash can troubles, his weathered face broke into a knowing grin. "You know," he said, stirring sugar into his coffee with a paint stir stick, "there's nothing in city code about what materials you can use for trash containers. Plastic, metal, concrete, as long as it holds garbage and fits size requirements, you're golden." That conversation planted a seed that would grow into Brenda's worst nightmare. 60 pounds of concrete mix, steel rebar for reinforcement, and a clever modification to a standard plastic shell. Total cost, $47 versus the $350 I was facing in mounting fines and replacement cans. The engineering was simple but effective. Hollow bottom section for weight distribution, drainage holes maintained for functionality, exterior appearance identical to every other trash can on the block. From the outside, it looked completely normal. Inside, 60 pounds of steel-reinforced concrete waited to teach Brenda a physics lesson about immovable objects. Monday morning, I positioned my newly reinforced trash can in exactly the same spot as always. 6:15 came right on schedule along with the rumble of Brenda's oversized engine. Her approach was slower, more cautious. She'd obviously noticed the can looked identical but somehow felt suspicious. The first collision came at about 15 miles per hour, her usual ramming speed. The sound was completely different. Instead of that sick crunch of breaking plastic, there was a solid thunk followed by the screech of metal on concrete. Her Escalade's running board bent like aluminum foil while my trash can sat there looking mildly offended. I watched through my kitchen window, coffee mug warm against my palms, as Brenda sat in her SUV for a full 30 seconds, clearly confused. She revved the engine and tried again from a different angle. Same result, more damage to her vehicle, zero damage to my concrete fortress. Over the next week, Brenda made increasingly desperate attempts to damage my concrete creation. Each collision left new scratches and dents on her pearl-white Escalade while my can remained smugly intact. The irony was delicious, her own aggressive behavior was destroying the very vehicle she used as a weapon. By Friday, her SUV showed nearly $800 in accumulated damage. The neighborhood kids had started gathering at bus stops early just to witness the daily demolition derby. By mid-November, Brenda had transformed into a full-blown private investigator. Mrs. Olivia called one Tuesday morning, voice barely above a whisper. "Marcus, that woman was in your driveway last night with a flashlight and some kind of scale. She was trying to weigh your trash can." Her investigation intensified throughout the week. Jim Torres, our maintenance guy, mentioned she'd cornered him at the hardware store, interrogating him about concrete purchases and asking which residents had bought unusual materials recently. Thursday afternoon, a building inspector knocked on my door. A tired-looking guy named Pete, who clearly had better things to do than investigate trash cans. Man filed a complaint about potential building code violations. Something about unauthorized concrete structures on residential property. Pete spent about 30 seconds examining it before shaking his head. "It's a garbage container, not a foundation. No permits required, no violations present." Honestly, I've seen people build entire sheds without this much scrutiny. That's when I started a different kind of investigation. If Brenda was this obsessed with controlling neighborhood projects and pushing specific contractors, maybe her motivation wasn't just power. Maybe it was profit. Sunday night research in the city's public contract database revealed something that made me set down my coffee and lean closer to the computer screen. Whitmore Construction LLC, formed 6 months ago, listed Brenda Whitmore as 40% owner and her husband Richard as president. The timeline made my skin crawl: company formation in May, first HOA maintenance contract bid in July, harassment campaign against me beginning in early September. Over the past 4 months, Whitmore Construction had been awarded 7 different maintenance contracts by our HOA board: landscape edging, sidewalk repairs, community center touch-ups, playground maintenance. $23,400 in total work. On every single contract, Whitmore Construction had underbid the competition by exactly $50 to $100. Just enough to guarantee selection. Brenda had voted to approve every single one of those contracts. 7 votes, 7 approvals, 7 payouts to her family business. The conflict of interest was so blatant, it practically had neon signs around it. My first polite conversation with Brenda about the trash can incidents, September 15. First questioning of maintenance budget at the monthly board meeting, September 3. She'd started her harassment campaign exactly 12 days after I'd innocently asked why we were spending so much on basic repairs. My concrete trash can hadn't just been blocking her morning power walk. It had been protecting evidence of systematic theft from 127 homeowners. Tuesday evening, my garage transformed into a war room. I'd cleared out workbenches, set up folding tables, and arranged 5 mismatched chairs around the evidence board I'd constructed using construction paper and red string. The core team assembled by 7 p.m. sharp. Mrs. Olivia arrived first, clutching a thermos of jasmine tea and looking nervously determined. Jim Torres showed up still wearing his maintenance uniform. Patricia Lopez brought a stack of HOA financial documents she'd borrowed from the board files. Dale Kowalski rolled in last, carrying a box of donuts. The evidence layout looked like something from a federal investigation. $23,000 in questionable contracts, 7 separate conflict of interest violations, 47 documented harassment incidents, and 1 increasingly damaged Escalade serving as rolling proof of Brenda's deteriorating mental state. We organized our multi-pronged attack strategy. Jim would monitor Brenda's activities and document retaliation attempts. Mrs. Olivia would coordinate door-to-door campaigns gathering neighbor support. Patricia would work the inside game, building board member consensus for a financial audit. Dale would serve as technical consultant on construction-related evidence. The community organizing phase started Wednesday morning. Armed with professional presentation materials and irrefutable documentation, I visited every house in Pinewood Gardens. The response was overwhelming: 89 signatures supporting property rights, 34 demanding immediate financial audits, and 12 volunteering for testimony at the upcoming board meeting. Meanwhile, Brenda's desperation escalated to potentially criminal behavior. Saturday night, I was jolted awake by spray paint hiss. Through my bedroom window, I could see a dark figure crouched beside my trash can, illuminated by motion sensor lights. By the time I'd grabbed my phone and stumbled outside, they were gone, leaving behind amateur graffiti spelling "MOVE" in bright orange letters across the concrete surface. Security cameras captured everything in high definition, including license plate numbers of pearl white Escalades parked 3 houses down during the incident. Monday brought anonymous complaints to the gas company claiming I'd been conducting suspicious excavation activities. The utility inspector spent 2 hours with detection equipment before confirming no digging, no violations, no problems. Whoever called this in either has serious vision problems or serious psychological problems, he told me. Tuesday evening brought the discovery that made me genuinely angry. Emma came home from school upset, having overheard Brenda talking to another parent about dangerous neighborhood influences and inappropriate role models for community children. The racial undertones weren't subtle, and the implications for my custody situation were crystal clear. The community center had never seen anything like it. 127 residents, literally every homeowner in Pinewood Gardens, packed into a room designed for maybe 40 people, with another 15 media representatives setting up cameras. The air conditioning couldn't keep up with body heat, and fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry wasps sensing blood in the water. I positioned myself strategically in the third row, flanked by Mrs. Olivia and Jim Torres, with my concrete trash can wheeled in as Exhibit A, sitting proudly beside the podium. Brenda sat at the board table looking like she'd rather be getting root canal without anesthesia. Her usual navy blazer had been replaced with funeral black, and every few seconds she'd glance toward the exit like a trapped animal calculating escape routes. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice carrying easily through the packed space, "this isn't about trash cans. This isn't about HOA bylaws or property rights or community standards. This is about accountability, transparency, and stopping corruption before it destroys our neighborhood." I walked them through the timeline methodically. 57 documented collision attempts, each recorded in high definition. The GPS tracker illegally placed on my vehicle. The spray paint vandalism captured on security cameras. The fake insurance claims that constituted felony fraud. But the real showstopper was the financial presentation. Using a borrowed projector, I displayed the contract analysis showing $23,400 funneled from community dues directly into Brenda's family business account. "Every month, you've been paying higher fees to fund Mrs. Whitmore's personal construction company," I announced, watching jaws drop throughout the audience. 7 contracts, 7 undisclosed conflicts of interest, 7 violations of state nonprofit law. The video compilation played next, 12 minutes of Brenda's greatest hit set to a soundtrack of crunching plastic and scraping metal. The gasps and nervous laughter from the crowd provided perfect accompaniment to footage of her increasingly desperate collision attempts. Then came the mic drop moment. "Mrs. Whitmore, you've spent $3,400 on lawyers, destroyed your $60,000 vehicle, committed insurance fraud, and stalked my family over a $23 trash can. But the real crime is the $47,000 you've stolen from this community through your family's construction company." The room erupted. Brenda shot up from her chair like a jack-in-the-box, her carefully constructed composure finally cracking under pressure. "This is harassment," she screamed, her voice reaching frequencies that probably bothered dogs 3 blocks away. "These people don't understand property values or community standards. They come into decent neighborhoods and think rules don't apply to them." The racial undertones hung in the air like smoke. Channel 7's camera captured every word, every gesture, every moment of her complete psychological breakdown. At exactly 6:45 p.m., as Brenda was attempting to deflect questions about the Whitmore construction contracts, Officer Derek Martinez walked through the community center doors carrying an official-looking folder. "Sorry to interrupt," he announced to the suddenly silent room, "but I have a warrant to serve regarding insurance fraud and stalking charges." The color drained from Brenda's face faster than antifreeze from her damaged Escalade. Game over. Checkmate. The aftermath unfolded like dominoes falling in perfect sequence. Within 48 hours of the board meeting meltdown, Brenda's world collapsed faster than her Escalade suspension system under repeated concrete impacts. Tuesday morning brought her formal resignation. By Thursday, the district attorney had filed insurance fraud charges carrying up to 6 months jail time and $5,000 in fines. Her insurance license was revoked Friday afternoon, followed by suspension of Whitmore Construction's contractor certification. The financial reckoning was swift and merciless. Our emergency HOA audit conducted by Patterson and Associates CPAs recovered $47,000 in overcharges and questionable contracts. Every homeowner received a $170 refund check by Christmas, the sweetest holiday gift Pinewood Gardens had ever seen. Richard Whitmore called me one final time, his voice hollow with defeat. "The civil settlement check is in the mail," he said quietly. $12,500, as agreed. "Brenda wanted me to tell you she's moving to Florida to live with her sister. The governance transformation was remarkable. Patricia Lopez won the special election for board president by unanimous vote, running on a platform of transparency and community engagement. The new board implemented conflict of interest disclosure requirements, monthly financial reports, and public contractor bidding processes. My concrete trash can became a neighborhood legend. We moved it to the community center lobby as a permanent display, complete with a bronze plaque reading, Property Rights Protected, 2023. New homeowners get the full story during orientation meetings, and visiting contractors often ask to see the famous indestructible can that brought down a corrupt board. The scholarship fund I established with the settlement money has helped 4 students attend college so far. The Marcus Holloway Property Rights Scholarship prioritizes applicants who demonstrate creative problem solving in the face of institutional opposition. Emma and Tyler learned lessons about principled resistance that no civics class could teach. Emma's college application essay about fighting corruption with concrete evidence earned her admission to 3 journalism programs. Tyler started a YouTube channel called Suburban Justice, covering HOA disputes across the Midwest. Sometimes David does beat Goliath, but only when David comes prepared with evidence, allies, and 60 pounds of steel-reinforced concrete. Drop a comment and share your HOA nightmare story. Hit that subscribe button if you want more stories where the little guy wins through preparation, patience, and perfect timing. Justice tastes sweetest when served with community support and creative problem solving. Thanks for hanging out with us on HOA Stories, where the HOA Karens meet their match.